Yeah,
I suspect you may have committed an offence.
Well, I haven't.
Forgive me for not knowing the acting section.
Okay, well, obviously, if you arrested me...
When the badge turns silent, the body cam speaks. Citizen rights violated.
This episode is brought to us by Brett Chamberlain. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel, and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Order to Brett runs into the most honest problem policing has: an officer who suspects a crime first and learns the law second. Brett is flying his drone near a traffic police practice center when he's stopped by an officer who openly admits he doesn't know the drone rules. Instead of disengaging, the officer starts Googling legislation mid-interaction, but still gets it wrong. It's a perfect example in how authority collapses when it isn't backed by knowledge, and how composure and facts dismantle suspicion every single time.
Go on then.
Okay, so I'm quoting to you from the Civil Aviation Authority website. It says here, do not fly closer to people than 50 metres. Well, you were certainly within 50 metres of me when I stood in the middle of the DVSA check site.
Right.
Okay, so I suspect you of then breaching that regulation, so I'm asking for your details.
Right, so which class of drone does that refer to?
What weight is your drone?
Am I required to answer that question? I'm not required to assist you in your investigation. You've now just looked on the CAA website.
Yes.
And found that drones that are below 250 grams,
Okay.
you're allowed to fly closer to people than 50 metres and over their heads. So therefore you don't suspect me of committing an offence anymore, do you?
Well, I'm not trying to trick you. You've come to a traffic officer's course. There's a number of officers in there doing some traffic work.
Right.
You're flying a drone over our heads. It's distracting us from our work, and it's potentially a safety issue. So I've come out to discuss that with you.
Right.
And the first thing you want to do is to film me and refuse to give me any details.
The first thing you want to do is accuse me of committing an offence and start making up laws and saying that I have to give you my details when you know I don't.
The officer takes one sentence from a CAA website and treats it like it applies to every situation, but that's the mistake. The 50-meter rule he mentions is for regular drones, not for sub-250-gram drones like Brett's. That difference is very important because lighter drones follow different rules due to lower risk. The claim that Brett is distracting them is also weak. Distraction is not a legal reason to demand someone's details. An officer cannot require information just because lawful activity feels inconvenient. Brett is not blocking traffic, interfering with vehicles, or breaking airspace rules. He is simply flying a drone, which the law clearly allows him to do.
I asked you your name. You said no.
Yep.
You then asked me quite understandably, do I have to? I've said, I suspect you may have committed an offence. You said, what offence? So I'm now looking at, if you want specific action section, then I'll do what I can to try and find that for you.
Well, do you want me to help you out with that? I'm not committing an offence.
Okay, because what's your understanding of...
Because you've just read the rules out and I'm within those rules.
The weight of your drone?
Well, I'm telling you that it is within the rules. You saw how small it was. So unless you reasonably suspect that it's heavier than that...
Okay, keep at least 150 metres away from residential, commercial and industrial
What class of drone's that?
Well,
I'm telling you, it's ones that are above 250 grams. The one I've got, you're allowed to fly wherever you like.
Let me rephrase it, because you sound like you know some of it.
I do.
What's the understanding of the regulations for flying your drone? What do you believe it is?
Well, I'm allowed to fly my drone over there. Unless you've got specific agreements with the Civil Aviation Authority to say that I'm not allowed to fly my drone over there.
Brett is right to question the officer here. The officer admits he doesn't even know how much the drone weighs, yet he still tries to apply stricter rules as if it's a heavier drone. That doesn't make sense. It's not Brett's job to prove the drone is in a heavier category. It's the officer's responsibility to have clear and reasonable evidence that it isn't a sub-250-gram drone, and he doesn't have that. When Brett mentions agreements, he is talking about official arrangements with the CAA, such as specific flight restriction zones or local airspace limits around places like airports, prisons, or important national sites. These restrictions are not based on guesswork or personal opinion. They are formally documented, publicly available, and legally enforceable.
I'll tell you what I'll do, because we have a team of drone operators within the police.
Yep.
I will try and get hold of one of them. I'll say I've got a chap here who's not being very forthcoming with anything at all.
I am. I've explained all the rules to you.
You won't even tell me who you are.
Well, why should I tell you who I am? So I know I'm not committing an offence.
You haven't given me any rules. You've just said I'm allowed to fly my drone.
Yeah.
You haven't quoted any rules.
Well, I have. I've explained to you, when you've read up those rules, I've explained to you that I know I am allowed to fly there because there's no legislation that says that I'm not allowed to fly there.
Okay. I'm happy to admit to you, sir, my specialism is traffic, so
Right.
I'm operating outside of my area of expertise.
Right.
But
Well, I'm helping you out here, aren't I, by telling you what the rules are.
Well, we'll get our colleagues
okay,
who
and
know the rules.
forgive me for saying this, but I can't let people go and just disappear off and not give any details. If I suspect an offence has taken place and you're just refusing me details and you're telling me that you haven't broken the law, because it may be that you have.
Maybe I have.
It may be that you have.
Yeah, well-
I suspect you may have committed an offence.
Well, I haven't.
I forgive me for not knowing the action section.
Okay, well, obviously, if you arrested me for failing to give you my details when I know I haven't committed an
I'm not saying I'm
offence.
going to arrest you.
He clearly admits that he doesn't know the drone laws, doesn't know the specific act, and doesn't even know which legal section applies. Yet he still claims he has the right to demand Brett's details because an offense might have taken place. That's not how reasonable suspicion works. An officer can't assume something could be wrong and then expect the law to justify it afterward. There must be a clear and lawful reason to require someone's details. If he doesn't know the law he is relying on, he can't properly enforce it. This situation isn't really about enforcing rules. It's about an officer feeling uncomfortable when someone calmly and politely knows the law better than he does.
Well, it's quite an interesting site, and I want to film it. I know that I'm within the law to do that, and I'm quite entitled to do it.
And
You've come out here threatening me that if I don't give you my details, I could be arrested.
I never said that.
Well, that is the case, though, isn't it? You say you suspected me of...
I've never threatened. The first person to mention arrest was you.
No, you
All I
said that you
was-
suspect I might have committed an offence, so therefore I have to give you my details.
asked
Now,
you
if you
to do.
suspect I've committed an offence and I won't give you my details, what's your next course of action?
Well, I'm going to get some advice. I've then said,
The
"Look,
arrest,
I'll be
wouldn't
honest
it?
with you, sir. You're speaking to a traffic officer about something to do with drones. It's outside
Right.
my area of expertise.
You've looked on the CAA website. I've explained the rules to you. I've shown you that it's a 249 gram drone. So now you know I'm not doing anything wrong, perfectly within the rules, so I can take off again and carry on with what I was doing, can't I?
It's distracting me from my work. It's distracting colleagues. They're looking up at what might be buzzing, what's buzzing just above
Yeah.
their heads, whilst they're trying to work around 13-ton cranes, which may suddenly move or have a defect. So I'm not
Okay.
trying to be awkward. I just want my colleagues to be safe. I want me to be safe.
But I just think it's important that if we're allowed to do something, the public, we should be able to do it, and we shouldn't be able to have like stormtroopers coming out telling us that we're not allowed to do it.
Do
When
you think I'm a stormtrooper?
well, I'm just saying, you know, you guys, the way you're dressed, you know, with all your stab vests
We are.
and you're kind of like your badges. Sorry.
I have to identify myself as a police officer. Otherwise,
Yeah, but
I
what's
think
this?
I
That's not part of the uniform, is it?
it's to explain which team I work on. I'm part of the no excuse team. It's a traffic department within Exeter Road Policing.
Okay.
It is if you want to tweet, check Twitter or
Yeah.
Facebook. It is
Is that provided by the force, that badge, or is that something you had to source yourself?
That's something I source myself. I'll be honest with you.
Right. So okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that the uniform policy says that you're not allowed to decorate your uniform with badges that aren't issued by the police.
Police officers are only allowed to wear badges and patches that are officially issued or approved by their force. This rule isn't about being strict for no reason. It's about staying neutral, professional, and keeping the public's trust. If an officer admits that a badge was bought personally and not officially approved, that's a problem. It means they have added their own message to a uniform that represents the state, not their personal beliefs. The thin blue line symbol is a good example of why this rule exists. Whether the officer admits it or not, the symbol carries political and ideological meaning. It is often linked to an us versus them attitude in policing, and police forces have made it clear that officers should not display symbols that suggest personal views, bias, or loyalty to a certain side while on duty.
Going well away from the reasons why I came out here to have a chat with you in the first place.
Okay.
You seem to have many questions about the police. I came out here to try and discuss with you about the drone.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to admit that I need a specialist advice about the drone.
Well, I'll give you a hand, right? So as long as it's below 250 grams, you can fly it where you like,
Right.
as long as it isn't within a restricted zone. So in Exeter, for example, you've got the airport and you're not allowed to fly in that zone, but the drone itself won't allow you to fly in the Exeter zone.
Okay.
It sort of like starts from the police station, actually, heading towards the airport, and it's quite a large area that you're not allowed to fly in. You're not allowed to snoop through people's bedroom windows and infringe on their privacy.
No, I would hope not.
As long as it's below 250 grams, you're pretty much allowed to fly where you like.
Most modern consumer drones, especially DJI models, have geofencing built into their software. This system checks the drone's live location against official airspace restrictions like airports, prisons, government buildings, and other controlled areas. If the drone is in a restricted zone, it simply won't take off, or it will limit the flight automatically. You can't just accidentally fly into protected airspace because the software physically prevents it. So when Brett says the drone won't let me fly there, he's not showing off, he's explaining how the drone is designed to work. The officer isn't dealing with a lack of enforcement. The rules are already being enforced by the drone's own technology.
Okay, and that phrase there, pretty much allowed to fly where you like. The devils can sometimes be in the details, and that's what
There's
I want
things
to get into.
like, where there's official secrets acts, like army bases and things like that.
I wouldn't say the work we're doing in there is secret, so I don't think that applies. It's just simply
Or GCHQ, for example.
Okay.
Things like that probably got laws to say you're not allowed to fly drones over them.
I mean, if you want to know what's going on in there, it's no secret.
Well, am I allowed in for a little tour then?
I'm happy to have a chat with you. It's just a bit awkward when this feels like you're doing an official interview with me.
Well, if I'm looking over there, there's not much to see. I've already got a picture of that.
Right, there we go. So the colleague there had a chat with the guys who work for the police and who operate drones.
Yep.
I'm told that there's no offence. But okay, I will say to you though, it is a little bit distracting.
Yep.
And sort of purely on a safety point of view, if you could avoid going over people who might be doing work that might require them a level of concentration.
In the end, there was no big moment of relief, just confirmation of what was clear from the beginning. Brett never needed permission or approval because what he was doing was legal the whole time. The officer's suspicion didn't disappear because of new evidence. It disappeared when the right people were consulted and the rules were properly understood. This situation shows a common problem. Officers on the front line acting confidently while not fully understanding the law. The officer questioned Brett, suggested possible offenses, and pushed for his details, even while admitting he didn't know the rules. That kind of imbalance often leads to unnecessary encounters. Brett didn't escape punishment or get away with anything. He simply waited for someone with proper knowledge to step in. The law didn't change during the conversation. Only the officer's confidence did. The lesson is simple. When you are acting within the law, you don't need to argue or escalate. You stay calm and let the confusion fade on its own. Brett didn't win by being louder or cleverer. He won because the law was clear, settled, and on his side from the start.